Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I'm just waiting for a game to download, and I've also been reading a book called Transylvanian Superstitions and listen to Knight's Watch video. But anyway, that's why I had the idea of doing this video, which is, and I'm going to be doing an about video about this same game. So if you want a more in-depth, um, like if you want to learn more about this game going after this, I will be posting an about video talking more about Fallout New Vegas and just of all the good stuff you'll be seeing in this game. But anyway, Fallout New Vegas was a game that came out in, I can't remember what year. I remember I was in high school when it came out, like 2010 or 11 or 9. Either way, it doesn't matter. Well, not for this video anyway. It is a fun game. I think my favorite part about it is the weapons. Like, you have the gun from Blade Runner in it. Like, I've never watched Blade Runner. As of this video anyway, I have not watched it yet. I still have the director's cut, still need to watch it, but have not watched it yet. And I think that's one of my favorite weapons to use in the game. There's that, and I think there was a lever action Winchester in the game, like a rifle, not the shotgun. I also liked using that one. The only downside is the only time since I've gotten it on the Xbox One, I haven't been able to beat it. Because every time I tried beating it once with the Elric character, and I kept getting killed by Legionnaires. And yes, those of you who've already played the game, I chose to side with the NCR. Fuck the Legion. Unfortunately, I also golf clubbed Mr. House. Although, if you do pick that option, here's something funny. There is a trophy or a reward for killing Mr. House with a golf club. It's a reference to Bioshock 1, which is, I think, a man chooses the reference. And if you don't know what that is, in Bioshock 1, spoiler alert, so if you don't want to hear this, leave now. At the end of the game, well, not the end of the game, but near the end of it, you kill a guy with a golf club. And he's trying to use this psychological trigger word on you that allows you to be manipulated. And the guy says, as you're beating him, a man chooses, a slave obeys. That's more or less the reference. I always found it funny. Also, the Mr. House, the guy you golf club, or can golf club to death, he's voiced by Renee, I forget his name, the guy who played Odo on Deep Space Nine. He's voiced by him. I mean, they had some good voice actors for this game. They got the guy who was from Friends on here. I forget his name. I want to say Mike Perry or something Perry. The guy who played the sarcastic one. He was probably the only one on that show I liked. I think. I don't remember much about Friends anymore. Don't think I want to. Anyway, who was a big fan of the Fallout 3, and then they made New Vegas, and I don't know what he thought afterwards, but yeah, he voices the guy who blew your brains out in the opening of the game. And the thing is set in this place called the Mojave. I think that's actually a real world location. I haven't been to the area, so I know nothing about it. But as you can imagine, New Vegas is what's left of Las Vegas. It, unlike most cities, survived the nuclear fallout or the nuclear holocaust because Mr. House predicted the war and was able to make countermeasures to save New Vegas. And for that reason, New Vegas is still standing. And there's and this is actually a pretty good political game with politics, and it has like these various factions in it, and depending on your actions, they will either like you or hate you. For the most part, people liked me, except for the Legion and the Powder Gang. I made them hate me because I both helped the people of Good Springs get rid of them, and the Legion. Well, actually, one time I nuked them. Like, there's a DLC called Lonesome Road where you have a nuke and you have to do something with it. And I wasn't able to pick the neutral option, so I picked the whole nuke the Legion territory. That was the option I picked. And, yeah, I don't regret that decision, I'm not going to lie. I hate the Legion. Fuck them. But, it's also funny because you have, like, this game combines science fiction, Western... science fiction, Western, a post-apocalypse. Like, if you told me a few years ago there was a game like this, I would not have believed you. Or I would say, that sounds batshit insane. Like, I'm borrowing from the Acme on this one, but yeah, if you told me a couple years back that one of my favorite games of all times would be something like this, I would have asked for the name of your Coke dealer, or what are you high on, and where can I get some? That's my. I mean, I'd be sarcastic, of course, but at the same time, like, you have to be hot. I think you would enjoy something like this. I would think that until I got my hands on it, and yeah, it's a very fun game. And there's also some really good DLCs. You've got the Lonesome Road. You've got Honest Hearts. You've got Old World Blues. Old World Blues is probably the weirdest one of the bunch. There's also a heist DLC where you are part of a heist. And unfortunately, I couldn't prevent everyone from dying in that one. Dino, I unfortunately had to blow the head off of. It's also funnily enough, this is also where I get the end line for all my videos. I mean, if you've already played the game, you probably knew this already, but... And back to the factions, you have really good factions in this game because you have people who cosplay as Romans in one group. Then you have the NCR, which is the New California Republic. They are kind of like a resurgence of the old the government left over from before the apocalypse. And they're probably the faction I'm able to side with the most because I can stomach them. The only downside is they do fucked up shit. Like, and depending on the actions you've taken with the Brotherhood of Steel, this is just an example of this. Depending on what options you have, if the person in charge of the Brotherhood is not the one who will cooperate with the NCR will have you initiate the self-destruct of their bunker. So yeah, the funny thing about New Vegas is all these factions, there is no good guy. It's just some are a little bit more tolerable than the other. Except for the Kings, they're not so bad. There's also a small town comprised of nothing but super mutants and one human. And if you don't know what a super mutant is, think the Hulk. Big, mean, angry, capable of some intelligence, and he can talk. I mean, the Hulk could too, I believe, but I don't know much about him. I've only seen the movies. And this was before the Marvel Universe thing. This was like the movies before that one. Those are the ones I saw. Only saw one. Anyway, that's a super mutant. And some of them can turn invisible. Like, they have these things called stealth boys that can make themselves invisible. Unfortunately, this has affected them in detrimental ways. And anyway. You also have the cons. You have the boomers. Which, if you think I'm fucking with you, I'm not. There is actually a faction called the Boomers. Like, if you are not careful and don't do certain things right, when you try to approach where they live, they will bomb your ass back to the Stone Age. Or blow you to pieces, basically. Like, they're very xenophobic, I guess would be the term. Like, I hate that term, but yeah, no, they're very xenophobic. As best I can describe them, anyway. But yeah, they're okay once you get to know them. Then you have... there are these families of New Vegas, because after the apocalypse, there were some families who helped build New Vegas up, I think, back from the ashes of the apocalypse, because even though it survived, it still had to rebuild itself. And then you got these various towns, outposts, and yeah, and some of them talk funny, like... Benny, the guy who's played by the guy from Friends, he says stuff like "ring-a-ding-ding, baby." Like, he talks like a very snazzy way, like he's from the 60s or the 50s, like post World War II, but before Vietnam, I guess. I'm still not entirely sure about the whole mob scene, but yeah, he sounds like someone who'd be in the mob. Which isn't that surprising, considering he put a bullet in your dome at the start of the game. And you can hunt this guy down for one of my favorite and oldest motives in human history, revenge. Which is kind of what I did. I didn't even try to work with him. I killed that guy every playthrough. I knew he was going to stab me in the back. And he does. So I feel vindicated. And plus, even if you chase after him after he backstabs you, he does in worse ways than that. Like, you have the option to crucify him, just kill him outright. Actually, the crucifixion part's the most fucked up one. Like, he goes, "You sick, vindictive fuck." Like, if you choose that, that's what he says to you. Anyway, this one's gone long enough, but, It is a fun game. Oh, there's also a town built around a motel in a small town, and they have a dinosaur shop. They use that to keep a lookout for ghouls. And if you don't know what that is, like, I don't have time to get into every bit of the Fallout lore, but they're kind of like zombies eventually. Like once they go feral, they lose their mind. But and there's actually a little facility where a bunch of ghouls and super mutants are at. And like these are ghouls who are not feral. They are very rational. They haven't gone feral yet. And you can help them launch rockets into space. Anyway, I think I've dragged this one out longer than I should have. Again, I will be doing an about video about this at some point down the line, or I hope I will. I'm still writing out everything I want to say about it. But yeah, keep a lookout for that. Or if you want to learn more about this game in the future, keep an eye out for that in the future. And have a nice day. Remember, the game was, well, actually, no. Just remember, the truth is, the game was rigged from the start.